Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Carmel and in today's video I'm going to be giving you some makeup alternatives. Now today's video is absolutely not about me sat here and bashing products. In fact, a lot of these products that I'm suggesting that you swap out, I absolutely love. But sometimes there are better alternatives out there that suit the majority of skin types, and I'm going to be giving you maybe a few clever swaps that might perform better on your skin and that might give you a little bit more bang for your buck. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. So as I mentioned in the intro, I'm not here to bash any of the products that I'm suggesting that you might want to swap out. Some of them I really do love, but some of them just don't work for me for one reason or another. And in the past, I have told you about products that haven't worked for me, but I haven't really given you an alternative. And so I just got thinking, well, that doesn't help anyone. You just sitting there and telling someone why a product doesn't work for you. Give them an alternative, give them something that might be better for them. I have spoken about this concealer before on the channel, and it is the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Concealer. I genuinely thought that this concealer would be everything that I'd been looking for in a concealer because I absolutely love Westman Atelier and I don't think it's a bad concealer. This retails, first of all, for €51. For 6 ml of product. That is, by anybody's standards, that is a super expensive concealer. And I think, oh no, the Victoria Beckham is the most expensive concealer I have. This is the second most expensive concealer that I own. And honestly, I think there are better out there. So as with a lot of high-end brands, Hourglass, I'm talking to you, sometimes their shades can be a little bit dodgy, and unfortunately Westman Atelier's was dodgy also. So I always go for a light to medium neutral shade, and this is supposed to be light to medium neutral. Very yellow, isn't it? That is the shade M1. It really should not be that yellow. So that was the first issue that I came across with this concealer. And do you know what? It's a really good, I would say, full coverage concealer that literally will stick around all day, in my opinion. However, I find with this concealer that it immediately sets into lines. So it's not a gradual process. It just sits into any lines that it finds and it will just stay there all day. I just find that I don't, well, obviously I don't enjoy using it because of the shade, but I just don't like the consistency. It's a very dry formula, which isn't something that I'm opposed to. But I find it really dry. I find it really thick. And yeah, just nothing about it really has worked out for me, unfortunately. So I want to give you an alternative full coverage concealer. So my alternative to the Westman Atelier is another full coverage concealer, but it just gives you a little bit more of a hydrated finish, and that is the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam concealer. So the first thing to note is it is much cheaper than the Westman Atelier, which obviously is not hard. So the Natasha Denona is €36 for 7 ml of product, so you get 1 ml more. I have loved this product since the first time that I used it. I have it in the shade N3, and the thing that I want to say to you about this concealer, and I'm probably not doing it justice today because this shade is not my shade right now. I had a bit of a nightmare, my own doing. I originally had this concealer in P3, which was a slightly peachy shade, but it was perfect. But then I dropped this and I smashed it. Yeah. And then I decided to pick up N3 instead of P3, and it's just not good enough to cover my dark circles. It's just too light for me. So although my under eyes are incredibly dark, I think it's done a decent job without a colour corrector. To use this shade in particular, I need to use a colour corrector. So I think, bearing in mind that I haven't used one, it's done a fairly decent job. I just find this to be what the Westman Atelier is not. So it's very creamy, and although it is full coverage, It's very hydrating. It blends like a dream. It's incredibly smooth, and I find it to be very, very self-setting. So I don't need to use a powder with this if I don't want to. I can, and it will still look as good, but you don't need to. I really struggle to find anything that I don't like about this concealer, and it's always in my top rotation. Always has been since it was released. I'm sure that the Westman Atelier is a holy grail for some people, and it does give really nice full coverage. However, I just think that some people find this a little bit drying. I think you will find the shade range a bit off as well, whereas Natasha Denona has a massive shade range, and she's also just released even more shades of the concealer. I don't think you ever need to be paying €51 for a concealer, especially one that has a dodgy shade range. Go for the Natasha Denona. It'll give you full coverage, and it's just more flattering. So the next buy this, not that product on my list is a foundation, and I'm talking about the Makiage Woke Up Like This foundation. So for those of you who have not been bombarded with 7 billion ads for Makiage claim to deliver the perfect foundation by just taking a quiz on their website. So if you answer all their questions, they promise to deliver you your perfect shade of foundation with the perfect formulation. Now, some questions I remember were really, really random. So things like, how do you like to apply your foundation, etc., which actually makes no difference to what shade it's going to come out with. Now, based on the description, this foundation wouldn't really be my cup of tea because it is a matte foundation. However, I'm very open to soft matte formulas, and that's what this claims to be, a soft matte finish. And this gets rave reviews, right? You've all seen them. People absolutely obsessing over this, saying it's the best foundation they've ever used. So I took the quiz. I paid, what was it? €49. That's a lot. And how much do you get? Yeah, the standard 30ml 1 fluid ounce. And this was disappointing. Now, the thing with Makiage, you are actually able to return this within 30 days. Now, I think there are conditions to this. I mean, I didn't because I'd been wearing it and wearing it to wear test it. And I do have a dedicated video to this, and I'll link it up here for you. So first of all, the claims that the shade is perfect. Well, you know what? The shade was pretty good. So here's the shade. And I actually thought that it did a really, really good job at delivering a really nice shade. I came out with 60. However, with the foundation, I found that it did lean a little bit yellow, and I don't think it helps that it did oxidize throughout the day, so that didn't help the cause. But if I was to just take the shade for what it was, I was quite happy with that. The one thing I wasn't happy with was the finish. I didn't expect this to be a luminous foundation. I didn't expect any glow, but I did expect it to be soft. And I just don't get that from this foundation. So for your reference, I have dry skin and it just looks dry on my skin. It doesn't look flattering. It would look drier in some parts than others. It's just not flattering. And for me, absolutely not worth €49. And I also got charged customs charges as well, which they said I wouldn't. Yeah. So for me, it didn't deliver on the claims. It's definitely not a soft matte finish. It was definitely very flat matte on my skin. Just doesn't look great. So an alternative to the Makiage would be this from Maybelline. This is the Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation, and it is what I am wearing today. This is an absolutely beautiful foundation, and for a fraction of the price of the Makiage. Now, it's still pretty pricey. I think I paid about €16 for this. Now, the thing is with drugstore is prices do vary from place to place, but you do have more of that chance of getting a little discount on it, you know, because they often have discounts at drugstores. If you love more of a soft matte foundation, you need to check this out. It's beautiful, and for me, a matte hater, I'm not into matte foundations. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the shade match. Now, I have this in the shade 128. And I actually think that this is a better shade match to me than what the Makiage is, which is very ironic. But I just adore how seamless this is to blend. It genuinely does blend itself, and the finish is exactly what it says on the tin. So it is very, very super soft matte, but it has got that luminosity to it. It's not flat, it's not drying, it's not cakey. The only negative, as with a lot of Maybelline foundations, is that it does contain alcohol denat. So that is just something to bear in mind if you suffer from drying skin or foundations drying out throughout the day. And it is superbly long lasting. For me, it's a no-brainer. I genuinely would not recommend the Makiage to anybody. If you're going to go for a soft matte foundation, definitely save yourself some money and hassle and go for the Maybelline. We are moving on to bronzer now, and we are talking about this. This is the Chanel Le Beige Bronzing Cream. So this is the Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream, and I have this in the shade 390. I'm not sure if I've ever spoken about this on the channel before. Now, this is definitely not a product that I am knocking. You see, I've even hit pan on this. I genuinely adore this bronzing cream. Okay, I think it's absolutely beautiful for those days when you want a genuinely natural sun-kissed glow. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, it's going to be pricey because it's Chanel. So this retails for €55. Yeah, and that's for 30 grams of product. However, it does last you such a long time. I love how natural this is, how blendable it is. I love this in the summertime because I think that it just looks genuinely like you have caught the sun. Never looks heavy, never looks cakey. I think this shade is possibly slightly too warm for me, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm still wearing it, so I still really do love this bronzing cream. I think it's gorgeous. So you are probably wondering why I'm giving an alternative to the Chanel, and I think there's a number of reasons. Obviously, this is very expensive, but the one that I'm going to give you as an alternative is also pretty pricey. I think a lot of people do struggle with the fact that Chanel are not yet cruelty free. So I have picked a cruelty free alternative, and one that I think, although still expensive, you do get a little bit more bang for your buck. And I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury Bronzing Cream. So I have this in the shade 2 medium. I mean, I just really do love this bronzer. This is a Charlotte Tilbury product that I would repurchase and repurchase. And it also comes with a mirror. And look at this packaging. This is extremely bougie, gorgeous packaging. I really do love it. There are some Charlotte Tilbury products that I can take or leave. This is definitely a Charlotte Tilbury product that I would hand on my heart recommend. This is one of her best products without a doubt. And another plus about the Charlotte Tilbury is that it doesn't have any fragrance, whereas obviously the Chanel does. Now, believe it or not, you do actually get less product with the Charlotte Tilbury, but this retails for €53. However, it's always on offer. You can always get Charlotte Tilbury discounted somewhere or another. Well, you can over here anyway, whether it's on her website with a discount code, whether it's at Cult Beauty or Space NK that constantly have sales on. It's very hard to get Chanel discounted, but you will definitely get Charlotte Tilbury discounted if you hang on and if you wait. So never pay full price, my friends. Don't pay full price for anything. And I actually think that this is more of a true bronzer. Barely There bronzers like the Chanel are not for everybody. But what I love about the Charlotte Tilbury is that I can go for a little bit of a sheer wash of colour, or I can build up that coverage, I can build up the pigment, and it never looks cakey, never looks patchy, similar to the Chanel. Again, not taking away from the Chanel, I would wholeheartedly recommend this to you, but this just pips it to the post, and I think you just get a little bit more for your money, and I think you get a little bit more payoff than you do with the Chanel. I wanted to talk to you about blush now, and specifically about a glowy blush. So this is the Rare Beauty Luminous Powder Blush. So I have a few of these, and I love Rare Beauty, all right, and I love Rare Beauty blushes. They are some of my favourite blushes of all time. Now, this is a tricky one. So in relation to any kind of makeup, I always prefer luminous, I always prefer glowy, dewy. That's just what I prefer. So I thought I would be absolutely obsessed by these, and when I first tried them I really did like them. I thought they were a great option to eliminate highlighter from your makeup routine. So I'm not the biggest highlighter fan, and these for me are more of a highlighter blush in one. So I'll just swatch these two for you. I think I have another one. Do I have another one? I don't know. So there's the shades. Hope at the top and Happy at the bottom. And they are both really, really lovely, seamless to apply. And despite how they look in a swatch, they're actually really, really pigmented when you get them on the face. And again, if you're looking for kind of that highlighter type quality in a blush, if you want super glow, then you're going to get that from these blushes. However, as with any illuminating product, illuminating blush, there is a chance that you are going to emphasize a little bit of texture on your face. So for me, a great alternative to these highlighter-esque type blushes would be this new one from Saie. So this is the Super Suede Radiant Powder Blush. I have this in the shade Mia, and these are baked blushes. So for me, these are exactly what I wanted the Rare Beauty powder blushes to be. So they are very soft and quite a satiny type finish, but they don't have this explicit glow. It has a really soft glow. It's kind of a toned down version of what the Rare Beauty is. So this is the shade Mia, and it's quite a warm shade. I really love it. It doesn't look the same in person that it does on the swatch. So that's something to bear in mind with the Saie blushes. But I just love everything about this. I think that despite it being a very pigmented blush, it's so incredibly easy to apply, to blend. I think it's very incredibly flattering on the skin. So I'm 42, I do have texture, I do have fine lines, and I don't think this Saie blush emphasizes any of that. And also the Saie is a little bit cheaper. I think this is about €25, whereas the Rare Beauty is about €29. So you are saving yourself a little bit of money there. So you get 2.8 grams with the Rare Beauty and you get 3 grams with the Saie. So I think that is a really clever, smart swap. You are still getting the glow that you desire, but it's soft, it's pretty, it's understated, it's really beautiful. So the next Buy This, Not That is from the same brand. This is the Armani Eye Tints, and we have the matte and we have the shimmer formulation. I actually feature these in a video where I break down my 10 favorite one and done eyeshadows, because I'm such an absolutely huge one and done eyeshadow fan. And I do mention in that video that I definitely prefer the matte formulation to the shimmer. So let me tell you why I think you should opt for the matte formula instead of the shimmer formula with the Armani Eye Tints. So the Armani Eye Tints are not cheap. They are €36. And for that, you get 3.9 ml of product. So I have the shimmer formula in the shade 11S. I expected it to be absolutely groundbreaking, especially for the price that I was paying. And I was just a little disappointed with this shimmer formula. Don't get me wrong, I love the shade. I think the shade is absolutely beautiful, but there's something about the application that bothers me. I don't find it to be a seamless application. And I find that when it sets down, and they do set down fairly quickly, I find that sometimes it can set down quite patchy, but this is only with the shimmer formula. It's not with the matte. So this is why I said in that video that I would definitely recommend the mattes over the shimmers, because I find that sometimes they can be patchy. Sometimes I can find that they don't blend as well, and I don't find them to be as buildable as the matte formula. And that is so disappointing after paying €36 for one teeny tiny liquid eyeshadow. So the best alternative is still the Armani eye tint, but it is in the matte formula. I have this in the shade 22M, and let me tell you, this is the most beautiful liquid eyeshadow. Genuinely, it is so incredibly smooth. It feels like velvet, and that's all I have on my eyes today. I literally apply this like I would a powder. So just apply it to the eyelids and then blend it out up to the brow bone. It's seamless. It's beautiful. It's everything that you'd want from a liquid eyeshadow. And I think that 22M is also the perfect everyday shade. But if you are absolutely adamant that you want to have a shimmery liquid eyeshadow, then the only top recommendation from me would be the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lurex eyeshadows. I mean, these are absolutely phenomenal. They really are. And I think that would be a great swap out for the Armani eye tint. So if you have been wondering, should I get the Armani eye tint shimmer or should I get the Lisa Eldridge liquid shimmer? Definitely go for the Lisa Eldridge. I'll just show you the shade that I have here, which is Angelica. So that's the shade Angelica. And this comes, if I'm going away anywhere, this comes with me wherever I'm going. And so does the Armani. And you'll see from the footage there that this Armani does not budge. Once it's dried down, it's not moving. The Lisa Eldridge is a little bit more movable, but the Armani, oh my gosh, so transfer proof, budge proof, lasts all day. I would just say that if you're going to get any Armani eye tint, go for the matte instead of the shimmer to avoid any disappointment. Mascara now, and this mascara has featured a few times on the channel. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize Mascara. I reviewed this. I did like it, but as I said in the video and as I've said since, it's a very, very wet formula. And despite how long I've had it now since it was released, it's still not dried down. And I find that it's quite a difficult mascara to use. It really quite intimidates me, the mascara, because I have to really be on my A game and concentrate when I'm applying it. Let me just show you what I mean. I don't know if you can see all the product that is on the brush and how wet it actually is. And you can see how messy it is with the tube, which, by the way, also scares the life out of me because it's a big, huge, heavy glass bottle. The thing is with this mascara is it claims to be a volumizing mascara. Now, I really like how my lashes come out when I've used this mascara. Okay, yes, it gets everywhere, but I really enjoy the finished result. However, if you were to look at the Charlotte Tilbury adverts and you were to look at the claims of this mascara, I don't think it's super duper crazy volumizing as it claims to be. And that's because, well, in my opinion, because it's a tubing mascara. So a tubing mascara, if you didn't know, has polymers that wrap around each individual lash, which in turn will separate your lashes. Okay, so I don't feel like It's the most volumizing mascara. Now, it's very hard to get volume in my lashes because I don't have full lashes. I have fairly sparse lashes. I can get length out of them, but volume is a tricky one for me. However, an alternative to the Charlotte Tilbury for volume, and this is what we're talking about here, volume, go for this. It's the YSL Lash Clash Mascara. Now, this also has a very intimidating brush. You can see how big it is there, almost bigger than my head. Obviously, I'm joking, but it is, look at it, it's absolutely huge. So again, I do have to be very careful with the application of this mascara because it can get a little bit messy because the brush is so big. But oh my goodness, there is not one mascara on this earth I can think of that is more volumizing than the Lash Clash. And I've also heard very many great things about the brown version of this. I always choose black. So I can imagine that if you're sat there thinking, right, I already have the length, I just need some volume in my lashes, there's no other mascara that I would recommend than this one. Again, I love the look of this mascara when it's on. I really do. And it doesn't move, doesn't budge. This doesn't move, doesn't budge. There really isn't much difference in the price of these. This retails for $32 and I think the Lash Clash is about $35. So both pricey mascaras. You don't need to be paying a lot for mascaras, by the way. Plenty of good ones at the drugstore. For volume, there really is only one winner in this circumstance, and it's the YSL Lash Clash. My last swap is a lip swap, and we are talking about the Dior Lip Maximizer. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I love this product. I've loved this product for years and years and years. But oh my gosh, it is fairly expensive. So this retails for €44 and I have this in the shade 001. I use this on its own. I use this over lipstick. I've used it for years and I really do like it. So I've always loved this because it does give you that plumping sensation. It gives you those plumped, hydrated lips. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this Dior product. However, I have an amazing alternative for you. This is the best dupe of this Dior Lip Maximizer that I've ever known. And it's this by L'Oreal. This is the L'Oreal Plump Ambition Hyaluron Lip Oil. I discovered this recently and immediately it reminded me of the Dior Lip Maximizer. So it has that plumping effect, that cooling effect. And I was surprised by it when I first used it, but oh my gosh, you get over it so fast. It's not painful, it's tingly straight away, and it dissipates really, really quickly. And this is the most comfortable lip oil I think I've ever used in my whole life. It's incredibly comfortable, hydrating, and lightweight. It's more lightweight than this, I would say. This never feels sticky, never feels heavy, and it has this beautiful finish to the lips as well. So I have this in the shade Worth It, which is 601. And I really love this because you can have this shade out or you can actually build up that colour. Oh, it's absolutely incredible. And although I still love the Dior, if I was to recommend anything to you that's going to give you a gentle plumping to the lips, but that's going to feel lightweight and hydrating, that is going to give you bang for your buck because this cost me about €13. This is €44. Makes no sense, okay? And if I was to make a decision now of which one I would use moving forward, it's the L'Oreal. Hands down, it's the L'Oreal. I love this. It is an absolute no-brainer to recommend that you swap out this for this. Seriously, you will not regret it. So they are just a few of my suggestions. I am considering turning this into a little bit of a series, a buy this, not that series. Again, I'm not wanting to sit here and bash products. That is not helpful, but telling you why I think you might want to swap things out, I think is helpful, especially giving you an alternative. So do let me know if you did find this helpful or if you would like me to make this a little bit of a series. Let me know down in the comments. And also, if you have any clever swaps, definitely let us know because we'd love to hear all about them. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care and bye for now.